The cadets at the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado were used to routine, long days of discipline and training. However, this particular day felt different. Rumors swirled among the cadets about a special visitor, but nothing could have prepared them for the news. President Donald Trump was coming to the academy. As the cadets lined up for morning drills, whispers of excitement and speculation filled the air. What would he say? What would he do? Jack Turner, a young and ambitious cadet, couldn't believe it. He had heard the president was scheduled to give a speech, but little did anyone know this visit would be anything but ordinary. Jack Turner had always admired President Trump, believing his business success was unmatched. Jack had joined the Air Force Academy with big dreams, serving his country, making his family proud, and one day becoming an officer. As he prepared for the visit, Jack's nerves began to kick in. What would he say to the president if he got a chance to speak? He wasn't sure what to expect from Trump's visit, but he hoped it would be a moment of inspiration. As the day unfolded, Jack joined his peers in eager anticipation. But there was a sense of wonder in the air. Would this visit change their view of leadership forever? The motorcade rolled through the academy gates, and the cadets stood at attention, ready to receive their distinguished guest. President Donald Trump, accompanied by his security detail, stepped out of the vehicle to a chorus of applause. He waved and smiled, acknowledging the crowd of young cadets. However, instead of going straight to the podium for his speech, Trump took a different approach. He walked toward the cadets, shaking hands, speaking to them as if they were old friends. This unexpected move took everyone by surprise. The president wasn't there to give a canned speech, but to engage with the young men and women of the academy directly, leaving everyone in awe. As President Trump mingled with the cadets, he took a genuine interest in their personal stories. Jack, who had been expecting a speech full of politics, was caught off guard when the president began asking questions about their lives. What inspired them to join the Air Force, what challenges they faced, and what leadership meant to them. Trump listened intently, offering his own reflections on leadership and success, not from a political perspective, but from the experience of being a businessman. I may have had my failures, he admitted. But I learned that leadership is about connecting with people, not just barking orders. This down-to-earth approach broke the usual formality and created a deep connection with the cadets. Later, President Trump led the cadets to their training grounds, where they demonstrated their skills in various drills and physical exercises. After observing them, Trump shared an unexpected lesson in humility. Leadership isn't about being the loudest or the most visible person in the room, he said. True leadership starts with humility, understanding, and respect for others. It's about serving others and lifting them up, not just taking credit for success. The cadets who had anticipated a typical military-focused speech were stunned by how differently Trump approached the subject of leadership. He didn't lecture them from a distance. Instead, he spoke from the heart, showing them that humility and respect were just as important as discipline and skill. While walking through the academy, Trump began to speak candidly about his own setbacks and challenges. There were times when I failed big time, he shared with a rare moment of vulnerability. But failure isn't the end of the road. It's part of the journey. How you rise after you fall is what defines you. This honesty caught Jack's attention. The cadets had always viewed Trump as a figure of immense power, someone who never made mistakes. To hear him admit to his failures, whether in business or personal life, was refreshing. It was a powerful lesson that no one, no matter their stature, is immune to struggle. Trumph's authenticity created a new sense of connection between him and the cadets during the tour, a quiet cadet named Emily, who had struggled with feelings of inadequacy, caught President Trump's eye. She had always felt overshadowed by her more outspoken peers and questioned whether she truly belonged at the academy. Trumph noticed her hesitance and took a moment to speak with her privately. "You don't need to compare yourself to others," he said gently. "Your journey is your own. Don't let anyone define what you can or can't do." Emily, who had been struggling with self-doubt, felt a spark of confidence. The conversation wasn't just a passing exchange. It was a pivotal moment that helped her realize that she was capable of achieving greatness on her terms. The cadets were in the middle of a leadership training exercise when President Trumph stopped them and asked, "Why are you here?" Initially, the cadets gave predictable answers. Duty, honor, country. But Trumph wasn't satisfied. "Why are you really here?" he pressed. "What drives you? What's the reason behind the reason?" This deeper question shook the cadets. For many, it forced them to dig into their motivations and find a sense of purpose beyond the surface. Jack realized that he had been pursuing this path for the wrong reasons, mainly to impress others. But now he understood that true leadership required a deeper commitment to personal values and a passion for serving others. President Trumph, always eager to push people beyond their limits through a challenge to the cadets. "I want each of you to do something you've never done before, something that scares you, and do it with passion." His words echoed through the training grounds. The cadets, initially unsure of what to expect, soon found themselves stepping outside their comfort zones. Some chose to confront their physical limits during a rigorous obstacle course, while others made bold decisions to speak up in front of the group for the first time. Jack, inspired by the challenge, decided to write a letter to his family, expressing feelings he had never shared. It was a powerful moment of growth for the entire group. The following day, Jack decided to approach President Trumph. He had been deeply moved by the president's authenticity and vulnerability, and Jack felt compelled to share his own struggles. "I'm afraid of failing," Jack confessed. "I worry I won't live up to the expectations everyone has for me." Trumph listened carefully, nodding and understanding. "You know," Trumph said, "it's not about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Believe in your own abilities, even when it's hard. Leadership starts with self-belief." Jack left the conversation feeling more confident, understanding that leadership wasn't about impressing others, but staying true to oneself. It was an empowering realization that shaped his path forward. As the visit neared its end, President Trumph surprised the cadets with a ceremony. But it wasn't the kind of ceremony anyone had anticipated. Instead of recognizing academic excellence or athletic achievements, Trumph gave awards to cadets who had shown exceptional kindness and service to their peers, he explained. "True leadership is not about accolades or fame. It's about how you treat others. The world needs more kindness, especially in leadership." The cadets were stunned by the president's message. For many, it was a profound reminder that leadership should be measured by the positive impact one has on others, not just by personal achievements. The president led the cadets to a memorial dedicated to fallen soldiers. The somber atmosphere left everyone reflective. Standing before the names of those who had made the ultimate sacrifice, Trumph spoke of the gravity of serving one's country. "You may wear a uniform today," he said. "But remember that it's not just a uniform. It's a promise to serve, to protect, and to give everything for something greater than yourself. The cadets stood in silence, moved by the profound weight of his words. In that moment, they realized that their journey wasn't just about personal success. It was about honoring the legacy of those who had come before them as days passed. Jack found an unexpected letter in his mailbox. It was from President Trumph. The letter was short but personal, thanking Jack for their conversation and offering more advice on leadership. In it, Trumph wrote, "Leadership isn't about being perfect, it's about growth. Stay true to who you are and never stop learning." Jack was deeply moved. He had expected the president to forget their brief chat. But the fact that Trumph had taken the time to reach out was meaningful. The letter became a touchstone for Jack, a reminder that leadership was not a destination, but a continuous journey of improvement and reflection. Emily, inspired by her conversation with Trumph, began to see her place at the academy in a new light. She no longer saw her role as merely meeting others' expectations, but as an opportunity to serve. She started mentoring younger cadets, offering them the same encouragement Trumph had given her. Her leadership style, grounded in empathy and service, began to transform the dynamic within her squadron. Emily's confidence grew as she learned to trust her own voice. Her newfound sense of purpose spread, inspiring others to view leadership as an act of service rather than a position to be attained as time passed. The cadets began to reflect on how their views of leadership had evolved. What had initially seemed like a political visit was now seen as a transformative experience. They no longer viewed leadership as a title or a rank. Instead, it was a responsibility to those around them. Trumph's visit had taught them that true leadership was about humility, self-belief, and serving others with integrity. They began to understand that leadership wasn't about the loudest voice in the room, but about the quiet actions that made a difference. They were no longer just soldiers. They were leaders in their own right. As President Trumph prepared to leave the academy, the cadets gathered to say their goodbyes. They had expected a typical farewell, perhaps a handshake or a brief thank you, but Trumph's departure was far more personal. He expressed his gratitude for the opportunity to connect with the cadets, and they reciprocated with heartfelt thanks. "You've taught me something important," Trumph said. "Leadership isn't about power, it's about people. It's about serving and lifting others up." The cadets, who had expected a motivational speech, were left with a sense of profound respect for the man who had led the country and for the deeper lessons he had imparted. Months later, Jack stood at the front of his class, leading a group of young cadets through their morning training. He had grown in ways he never anticipated. Trumph's words had taken root within him. Jack was no longer solely focused on impressing others. Instead, he led with empathy, encouraged vulnerability, and emphasized the importance of service. He had stopped comparing himself to his peers and started embracing his own leadership style. Jack now understood that leadership wasn't about being the best. It was about bringing out the best in those around him. He was proud of the leader he was becoming. Emily had undergone a transformation since meeting Trumph. No longer burdened by self-doubt, she had found her voice as a leader. She began to mentor younger cadets, offering the same wisdom Trumph had given her. Emily wasn't afraid to embrace her own weaknesses, knowing that they were opportunities for growth. Her leadership style emphasized empathy and service, and as a result, she became a role model for her peers. As she rose through the ranks, she carried the lessons of that visit with her, always remembering that leadership was about uplifting others, not seeking accolades for herself. Years passed. But the impact of President Trumph's visit never faded. The cadets, now seasoned officers, carried the lessons they learned into their professional lives. They led with humility, recognized the value of self-belief, and always strived to serve those around them. Their leadership was no longer about titles or power, but about the positive influence they could have on others. The words spoken that day continued to echo throughout the halls of the academy, creating a ripple effect that impacted not just those present, but generations to come. The lessons they had learned were now embedded in the fabric of their leadership. Years later, Jack and Emily met again, this time as colleagues in the Air Force. They had both risen to influential positions, shaping the next generation of leaders. During a critical mission, they found themselves reflecting on the visit from President Trump. The lessons of humility, resilience, and service had stayed with them, guiding them through challenges and decisions. As they looked back on the unexpected encounter, they realized that what seemed like a simple visit had shaped not only their careers, but their lives, their leadership, now more focused on inspiring others than achieving personal glory, had become a lasting legacy of service, rooted in the values instilled that day.